Brock Purdy was never supposed to be here. The last pick in the draft. Mr. Irrelevant. A name usually forgotten before training camp even ends. But inside the San Francisco 49ers organization, something unusual happened. The offense didn't just survive with him, it kept thriving. Wins continued, the system looked seamless, the quarterback looked calm, controlled, efficient. And slowly, the story changed. Brock Purdy stopped being a backup story and started being treated like the future of the franchise. But behind the success, a debate started forming inside the NFL. Quiet at first, then impossible to ignore. Because Purdy didn't enter a normal situation, he entered a perfect one, a system designed by Kyle Shanahan that has elevated quarterbacks before him. An offense built around timing, spacing, motion, and elite after-catch playmakers like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. A system where the quarterback is asked to execute, not carry, and that distinction matters more than almost anything in the NFL. Because now Purdy is approaching the moment every quarterback eventually reaches, the contract. The moment performance stops being judged in context and starts being judged in dollars. And that's where the story stops being inspirational and starts becoming controversial. Because once Brock Purdy is paid like a franchise quarterback, the NFL won't ask whether he succeeded in a perfect system anymore. They will ask whether he can survive without it. And if he can't, then the league won't remember him as Mr. Irrelevant, who made it. They'll remember him as the quarterback the 49ers paid like a star, who only looked like one when everything around him already was. Inside the NFL, there are offenses that help quarterbacks, and then there is the system built by Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. It is not just scheme, it is not just play design, it is precision engineering. Every motion has a purpose, every route is layered, every read is structured to eliminate chaos for the quarterback. And when it works, it doesn't just produce completions, it produces control. That is exactly what happened when Brock Purdy took over the San Francisco 49ers offense. Suddenly, everything looked simple. Short throws turned into explosive gains because of elite yards after catch ability from players like Christian McCaffrey. Defensive attention collapsed on motion, opening space for Deebo Samuel. Middle field dominance became automatic with George Kittle controlling mismatches, and Purdy's job, deliver the ball on time. That is where the controversy begins, because critics argue the system doesn't just support the quarterback, it protects him from failure. Miss a read, the design compensates. Hold the ball too long, the scheme simplifies the next look. Pressure arrives, the ball is already designed to come out quickly, and that raises a brutal question inside NFL circles. Is Brock Purdy actually elevating the system, or is the system elevating him? Because when everything around a quarterback is designed to succeed, failure becomes almost impossible to identify, and success becomes dangerously easy to overvalue. Every rising quarterback in the NFL eventually gets compared to the league's elite, but Brock Purdy's comparison is different, because he is not being compared to failures, he is being compared to quarterbacks who carry franchises on their backs. Players like Patrick Mahomes, who extend plays when protection breaks down, or Josh Allen, who creates offense even when structure collapses, or Lamar Jackson, who turns broken plays into explosive chaos. Those quarterbacks change games when everything goes wrong. Brock Purdy, critics argue, thrives when everything goes right. That is the divide. Supporters say Purdy is calm, intelligent, and efficient, exactly what a quarterback should be in a modern offense. They point to wins, playoff runs, and consistency inside one of the league's toughest systems to execute. Critics say something harsher, that Purdy is the most efficient passenger in football, not the driver. And this is where the debate becomes dangerous for the 49ers, because quarterbacks are not judged equally in the NFL. They are judged by expectation, and once expectation rises, perception changes instantly. Right now, Purdy is being evaluated as a bargain success story, but the moment he becomes expensive, that perception disappears, and every throw will be re-examined through a completely different lens. Every NFL dynasty eventually hits the same turning point. The quarterback gets paid, and the roster starts to shrink. For the San Francisco 49ers, this moment is approaching fast with Brock Purdy. Right now, the team is built on balance. Elite skill players, strong defense, depth at almost every position. That balance exists because the quarterback position is cheap relative to production. But NFL economics are unforgiving. A massive extension changes everything. Suddenly, the money that once went to depth becomes locked into one player. Veteran contracts become harder to retain. Defensive rotation weakens. The margin for error disappears. And that's when the real test begins. Because quarterbacks who look elite in perfect conditions often struggle when those conditions fade. This is the pattern the NFL has seen repeatedly. Step 1. Quarterback thrives on rookie deal. Step 2. Team builds elite roster around cheap QB. Step 3. QB gets paid. Step 4. Roster weakens. Step 5. Performance becomes inconsistent. And then the narrative changes overnight. What once looked like a franchise cornerstone becomes a controversial contract. And the same question always returns. Was the quarterback truly elite or just perfectly placed? There is a test in the NFL that every quarterback eventually faces. It is not a combine drill, not a stat sheet, not a playoff appearance. It is this. Can you still look elite when everything around you is no longer elite? That is the test waiting for Brock Purdy. Because right now, the environment around him is doing more work than almost any offense in football. The scheme is structured, the weapons are dominant, the spacing is calculated. Everything is built to reduce uncertainty. But NFL history is brutal to quarterbacks who rely heavily on structure. Once the structure changes, everything gets exposed. That is why critics are so aggressive in this debate. They are not denying production, they are questioning independence. Because independence is what separates franchise quarterbacks from system products. And the uncomfortable truth is this. The NFL pays for independence, not efficiency inside perfect conditions. So when the 49ers eventually commit massive money to Purdy, they will not just be paying for what he is now. They will be paying for what they believe he can be without the system protecting him. And that belief is where dynasties are either built or destroyed. Every NFL quarterback eventually gets defined by one thing. Not their draft position, not their highlights, not even their wins, but the situation they were placed in. For Brock Purdy, that situation is both a gift and a risk. Inside the system of the San Francisco 49ers, he has looked composed, efficient, and reliable, enough to lead deep playoff runs, enough to silence critics at times, enough to turn Mr. Irrelevant into a legitimate NFL starter. But the moment money enters the equation, everything becomes permanent. Expectation becomes identity, and identity becomes judgment. If Purdy continues winning after a massive contract, the narrative changes forever. He becomes proof that intelligence and timing can rival physical dominance in modern football. But if the roster weakens and performance drops, the narrative flips just as fast. He becomes the cautionary tale, the quarterback who looked perfect until he was paid to prove it without perfection. And that is the uncomfortable truth at the center of this entire debate. In the NFL, systems can create stars, but only contracts reveal them. The debate around Brock Purdy is not really about disrespect. It is about risk. Because the San Francisco 49ers are standing at a crossroads the NFL has seen many times before. A quarterback performing at a high level inside a perfect system, a roster built for contention, a looming contract that will reshape everything. Right now, Purdy is protected by structure, but structure does not get paid. Players do, and once that happens, the conversation changes from how good is he in this system to how good is he without it. That is where legends are confirmed, and where illusions collapse, and the NFL is waiting for the answer.